Thank you, Professor Mario. Before talking about some concrete venues for cooperation, let me just make two brief notes. First one, I forgot to introduce some of my colleagues from UFMG who are here. First, Professor Aristóteles Góes Neto from our Institute of Biological Sciences. He's also the president of our Center for North American Studies. Professor Marcela Gomes, who works in our international office. She is responsible for mobility of students and faculty. Professor Lucas Lima from our School of Law. He's our contact point at the School of Law, so if you're interested in cooperating with our School of Law, would be a good idea to talk to him. And also, some of you may already have exchanged messages with Thiago Duarte, who also works in our international office and helps us reply to many partners around the world. Another note, another brief but very important note, is that there is coffee and cheese bread outside, the pão de queijo. So I know that with jet lag, coffee might, at least during the day, help. It sort of, I mean, later on you sort of pay because then you don't sleep. But you know, there is also cheese bread, which might give you some energy for the rest of the day. It's our signature cookie here, right? So as Professor Davidson Lopes mentioned, we have been in office for about 8 months, and we've been trying to change our, we've been implementing a change in our international strategy. We have over 430 partners, over 600 legal instruments signed with these different partners, but we're not focusing on more friends, we're now focusing on better friends. And I hope that some better friendships may come out of this meeting. By a better friendship, we mean a improved cooperation, cooperation in different fronts, right? We are very much interested, we are open to cooperate in many different ways. First of all is what we call qualified mobility of professors and researchers. Obviously, this falls within print, but also may also happen outside of the print scopus, as there are other sources of financing for mobility. So we are able to send professors abroad for a sabbatical, right? We are able to receive professors as well. They may engage into teaching and research here, and that is very much appreciated and falls within what we would label traditional cooperation. We obviously also have for undergraduates, a very strong program called Minas Mundi. It's a program for exchange student, and it's the largest undergraduate exchange student program in Brazil. If you would like to know more about that, then Professor Marcela Gomes is the person to talk to, as she is responsible for running that program. In that program, we do fund our poorest students so that they can spend a semester abroad. Again, in the traditional cooperation field, we have research and co-authorship of articles, as mentioned by Professor Mario Campos. We're very much interested in improving the number of articles co-authored by our professors and co-authored by professors from different foreign institutions. We know that that's a very likely way of strengthening the impact factor of those articles. Professor Mario has given me a number yesterday. I believe it increases the impact factor by
3 to 4.
3 to 4. The number of citations, yes. In addition to that, we do have other possibilities, such as online seminars, right? It's obviously, we do have also presential seminars. Professors will be, from your institutions, will be very welcome to participate in conferences here. And we also hope to be able to send some of our professors to your institutions. But we can also take advantage of technology in order to have these online seminars. But we know that that has been done in different instances. It's not anything unusual. What we would propose that falls a little bit out of that are three things. First of all, we do have a summer school. We created a summer school, and we have to begin with a... Okay, Professor Davidson is reminding me that there's a brochure inside your bags. There's a yellow brochure, very bright brochure. You might use your Ray-Bans to read it, but to read them. But this program is a summer school. I mean, this happens in July. We are asked by partners from New Zealand if we would be able to run it in January. If we do have a certain number of students who are interested in coming, over 20 students, obviously they do not have to come all from the same school, then we are able even to offer another session in January. For some of you, that may work better than July. It's a course on Brazilian studies. It's a 2-week course on Brazilian studies. We have classes on Brazilian history, Brazilian geography, Brazilian law, Brazilian politics, Brazilian culture, and so on. And it's all done in English, which I know helps for many of you, as Portuguese is not exactly the most spoken language worldwide. Additionally, we do use the summer school for helping diminish the imbalance that might exist when we do have an exchange agreement of undergraduate students. We understand that sometimes it might be difficult for partners to send students here for a semester. First of all, because for many students, Brazil is still a very exotic destination. Second, because of the language barrier. So this helps in two ways. One, it's a very short experience. So people are normally more relaxed about going abroad for 2 weeks than they are going abroad for a semester. And secondly, it's entirely done in English, so language is never a problem. Third, the second way that we are willing to cooperate is distance learning classes. How would this work? A class would be offered by a professor from institution, say X, in conjunction with a professor from UFMG. In one semester, both professors would offer a course targeted at our students here in Belo Horizonte. And in the second semester, both professors or two other professors would offer a course targeted at the foreign audience located in the university of the professor who offered the course jointly with us. We would have an agreement and we could do a small or a number of classes could agree on the classes beforehand. So there is flexibility there in how we actually write the agreement, right, on what we actually or get down to. But the basic idea would be to allow two professors to spend one semester teaching together one seminar, exchanging ideas, and interacting, and that might lead to further cooperation. In addition to that, we'll have what we call internationalization at home. We'll offer students here the opportunity to have a foreign professor, to have a course delivered in conjunction with a foreign professor, and then later we'll offer students at your universities the same opportunity of having a course delivered by a professor from our university. So that in some cases, I was talking to Professor Grant, in some cases, Bangladeshi female students, he was telling me, do have a difficult time, they are not allowed actually to travel abroad by themselves, right? This would help them have a international experience by taking the course at their university at home. Third way of cooperating are co-tutel. We envisage three levels, three different possibilities here. We are going to, for the reasons that I'll explain, we'll focus on the second one. But the first possibility of cooperating in that regard is to have two advisors for a same candidate. So let's imagine that Professor Mario is serving as my advisor. We can also have another professor from, say, the University of Pennsylvania, from which he is an alumni, also advising me. And in the end, I would benefit from having two advisors, discuss with them my work and so on. And obviously, they would be cooperating. And from that cooperation, that might come articles and other products. This obviously, for that, we obviously do not need any sort of agreements. This is done through the different graduate programs that we have, and it's done in a more, say, informal manner. I mean, it has to be approved by the respective graduate program, but it's not necessary that we have a formal instrument signed between our institutions in order to do so. Second possibility, and I'll come back to it in a second, are double degrees or co-tutels. And third, we have joint degrees. By joint degrees, we mean that the two universities come together and offer one course, right? So at the end, if the student is approved, he'll have a certificate with 2 badges from both institutions. Now, by co-tutel or by double degree, we mean the student actually fulfilling the requisites here and the requisites abroad, giving our partner, obviously, the same opportunity to send students, right? And if the students fulfill the requirements here and abroad and is approved by a bench of examinators from both institutions, he may get 2 degrees instead of one from UFMG and another from the partner institution. We understand that different countries have different regulations for PhD programs, so we like in this case, we are extremely flexible in the co-tutel agreement. But the idea here is, instead of doing it in the more traditional way of drafting one agreement per student, as it is normally done, we would like to propose a general agreement which would serve as the basis for all the following co-tutels. Additionally, the level of details that we may have in that agreement may vary substantially. We may, for example, put all the necessary requisites in that agreement. We may limit that agreement to only certain courses. We may say in that agreement at which point he, she may or may not go. we may also put the number of credits that he must take here and there. We can also discuss the length of stay and where, in which language, the final examination will take place. So those are some ideas of cooperating. As I told you, as stated here, we are very much interested in improving, in strengthening the cooperation that we have, right? In have better friends, not more friends. And I hope that we can take some of these ideas to improve the cooperation that exists between our universities. Thank you very much.